Okay, folks, let's try this again. Let's try this again while we're awake. Let's see if we can finish up these T35s. And we got some bushes here. I don't know if I got some more of these. Let me check in a place where I usually put the extras. Let's go ahead and use these extras up first. Okay. So you got some of these usual suspects. Let's see if we got any more of those. Those I believe those are gamer's grass. I may have run out of them, which is okay. Let's see. Oh, there it is. I am not out of it. Dark green. It is dark. It is gamer's grass. Dark green shrubs. Shrubbery, one that's not too expensive. Renan, welcome. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the regular grass down, which we don't actually do this on the figures. We do it on the vehicles, but we don't do it on the figures. So let's get our Elmers, which is over there. And let's grab this as well. And this paintbrush should work just fine. And this should be the Elmer's right here. We had this out earlier as we put in the cockpit on the 109. And we're going to put this in places that make sense to put it, and also to help cover up maybe some areas where I don't love how it looks. So we're only going to do one tank at a time. And we're going to need the tweezers. The tweezers work their way over there. That's a problem with having two desks. Well, I think I can get by without them. One of these has the turret that falls off. That's that one. these tanks right here, and then we'll do the tufts afterwards. Yeah, I did not have a very successful morning on my show. It was almost like I got hit by a blow dart gun that made me go to sleep. I'd gotten up at my normal time. I had to sleep like another 2 hours. We got some guests here today, so I slept over last night. That's actually what kind of threw me off. Didn't even have a drink, and I was like groggy as hell. Now, I actually installed these tanks not using epoxy, but using a hot glue gun. So they're hot glue gunned onto this base. And that's a heck of a lot easier to use than the epoxy. Well, I don't have to mix it and let it set and stuff like that. It's pretty much fire and forget. All right. Do I have it all? I have some portions of a battlefield. It's removable, but I have done a couple of games. They're kind of hard to find on my channel, and the games look good because the battlefield looks good. But I don't have one permanently set up. But the whole intention is to look. You can't tell in this video, but these look pretty darn good. And the battlefield should match the same way. There's no point in like using felt and stuff like that. And my whole motivation to do this is you see all these people that have these incredible looking games and these Wargamer Soldiers and Strategy or whatever. And I'm like, man, that's the kind of stuff I want to play. I'm like, well, you got to be prepared to make your own battlefield. I'm like, okay, I am. Yeah, I do. But gaming is really low on my interest level. It doesn't mean I'm not interested, but it's not getting me from one day to the next gaming. So that doesn't mean I don't like to do it. It means there's a whole lot of work that's associated with it, and we'll get to it when we can, but probably won't game any until the summer's over. The daughter's back, and she's living at home, and, well, I didn't really do any while she was gone anyways. But with that said, this hobby table, I can run a game over there. Can I do a close-up of one of them? Sure. Let me do it on the phone. Let's see. Let's get a group shot here. And hopefully the photo does it justice, because sometimes it really it kills all the... The light is ideal for my painting, not necessarily for photos. Just makes it look washed out. And the only thing I end up doing is putting like an auto on here. Come on. Because it kicks back too much brightness. Save it. And these actually have no airbrushing done to them. They may have been primed with an airbrush, with black. That's it. Unfortunately, they're kind of boring looking, but that's just how they were. Yeah, they're just boring looking. If you look at something that's got a little bit more... Well, let's see. Let's look at that Snow T34. Okay, here's the T34 with a tiger. They're over here. Well, it's actually a different tiger. And really, it's easy as hell to do. It's just a lot of steps. It's not a ton of steps. It's just a lot of steps. Actually, the drippings part, that's what I've been doing recently. Is what I call the drippings. And that's actually the most enjoyable part. But yeah, these are actually 1/87th scale. They're not even the right scale. They're a little smaller. But hey, they work for war games. You know, they're only $1 a piece, so I'm like, well, I'm not going to pass that up. No, and we did them all on here on the channel, so. Well, I don't want to get into making video like, oh, how do I do it? How to do video. Not because I don't want to do it, but that's a lot of work for me. Like, just fast forward it. You know? That's more of the same ones. Okay, cool. Let's go over these. Yeah, I want to finish these so I can get them off my table. Not because I haven't turned out how I've wanted them to, but. And with that said, I'm still on the fence about whether or not to put them on bases or not, but. There's some vehicles that have to be on bases. These aren't necessarily them, but my other 235 that is finished, I just did a facelift on this one. It has to, and we're still going to have to paint the edge of the stand. What do we got here? Facelift. Let's do this one. It's supposed to be self-adhesive, but that doesn't always work the way it's supposed to. What's up, Ben? Showed up as your alter ego. Yeah, you weren't on in the morning to keep me awake. I was like hit with like a blow dart. I couldn't stay awake. Offer carryover from Mitch night. Swamp tuft. Merch working me too. Yeah, no, I just went over there and it screwed my my whole week up. I ended up being sleep deprived. And then yesterday we had to kind of surprise my daughter with some friends of hers to come and spend the night, and they had a function that they needed to do until like 9 o'clock, and they're like 2.5 hours away, so they didn't get here till almost midnight. Stayed up talking to them to close to 1. And then I went to bed at 1, knowing I only had 4 hours of sleep. And it probably would have been okay. Had not earlier in the week, I'd also had one of those stay up all night nights. And I think that's just kind of what threw me off. I woke up okay. And then I just couldn't stay awake. All right, let's get a brush that we don't have a love affair with. But also, it's not a piece of shit. Maybe something like that. All right, and I'm going to want to raise these ever so slightly. And we're going to paint the edge of these in SS Camo Black. Not quite black, but and it should be on tomorrow morning also, but it's not going to be a full-length feature. Not until Monday. Monday we'll be back to, things that are a little bit more typical. So yeah, we just glued this with a hot glue gun. We didn't use the epoxy to glue this to the tank to the stand. Trying to use a hot glue gun for every chance I can. Let's just say I got a lot of glue sticks left. Yeah, so most of my stuff is 1/72nd. This happens to be 1/87th. It's not a Roco, but it's a competitor. Russian competitor called Primo or Premo. And somebody was selling this at a convention. These for $1 a piece, unpainted. So it's a big tank. So I actually don't have a problem with it being 187th. Because, I mean, I got 176 scale tough stuff too. You know, we're not making a diorama. Now, if this was a Sherman or something a little bit smaller, I have a Sherman from Roco. It's not usable. That's how you're going to be, huh? Going to be a dickweed, all right? I like do Messerschmitt's planes. We're going to go back to that as soon as we're done with these. I just want to get them off my work surface. Yeah, I think most versions of the Messerschmitt, of the 109, are attractive. Most. And I picked up another E. And Stuka, yeah, Stuka's a cool plane. I don't actually have one of those. I could have, but got to leave something for later. Well, we didn't have our air conditioning at work last night. It didn't get that hot, but we did have the AC guy come by today, thankfully. And now we're back to, civilized temperatures. That one's done. 109G, I've got, the one I have is an E. I picked up another E. I had another E. And I have an F2. I don't have a G. A G is pretty attractive. A G is an attractor. The F, I'm not a fan of the F. The F isn't as attractive of a plane. It's funny because I think the least attractive Spitfire, I didn't say it was ugly, I just said the least attractive Spitfire is the one that is a Spitfire 5. Especially if it has that Habsburg chin on it. And it's at the same time that the 109F was coming out. And I like all the Messerschmitts better than the Focke-Wulfs. The Focke-Wulf A's, I don't think they're a very attractive vehicle. The D's, yeah, everybody likes the D's. But the A's, I don't know. I don't think they're ugly. I think the Messerschmitt's is better looking. And the last one's this one. The original. But I have a few planes to do. I got those 109s. I've got a P-47 I picked up the other day for free from the raffle. I got a P-40. I got a Spitfire Mark 1. I got an I-16, I-15 BIS. Plane crash TV. Yeah, I'm falling asleep again, man. I'm yawning. Like, what the hell's wrong with me, man? Jeffrey, you're putting me to sleep, my friend. That's not true, but if it is true, it's better than stressing me the hell out. Okay, so those are done. Now, the problem I have is I don't have anywhere to put them. But I gotta use the boys' room, and then I'll be right back. Welcome to my world. Napping during the day is a thing. Yeah, I don't mind doing it on a cruise because it creates every day into 2 days. That's good. But all right, man, they look good at a distance. See if we can get a photo shot here. And see if this looks representative. Yeah, I guess, but the drippings are really noticeable in person, and they're not. Yeah, they look better in real life than this photo. So, I'll be right back. So, the measurements I actually got for the purpose of wrecking them. I'm not. I don't know if I'm going to wreck them all, but all right. Now we got to find a place for these things to go, and my Soviets are completely full. Back to back to back to back. Let's kill this and turn this thing around. Okay. Yeah, so this is all Soviet stuff except little French taxi. All these guys are here, so let's pull some of these T-34s. Let's see, we'll move the light tank down here. We got more T-34s, okay. These are T-34 76s, so let's put them up here with the 76s. build plastic models for a while, and then you get one of these Skytrex tanks that's super, super heavy. I'm gonna go ahead and put the heavies down here. The hell do I need four for? Well, apparently a scenario. I actually have a fifth one. Let's move the cute T60, which I've forgotten I even had. Back here, and then we got space for this T3485. Okay. Antonio Herrera, what's up? Okay, so now let's go back to what we have over here. And this is the Tiny War Games UK Snafus gaming board, gaming table, gaming mat. It's also wafer thin, I should say. And yeah, it's looking pretty good. It's getting there. It's getting there. We attached the cockpit with white glue. So we're going to go ahead and put this from wherever it came. I'll go ahead and take the tufts over because we're not going to be doing that right this second. First of all, these are all tufts for the desert. We've already put the tufts that we need on there. Okay. So yeah, these are some Airfix guys, which honestly the Airfix guys look incredible. They look better than anything else I've ever done. I'm surprised. I've been looking at those figures since I was a kid in the early 1980s, and they paint up really, really well. Yeah, you know what? I don't feel like doing drippings right now on this thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this. I had this folded up for a photo. Let's fold this back up. And one thing I need to do is those vehicles that are in that battle. Now I have all the vehicles I need for the battle after finishing those T-35s. They're all done. So there's a couple of BTs. There's a couple of T-26s that are in it as well. I've already done those. They're a little... There's nothing wrong with them other than they don't have black lining and they don't have drippings. So that's two things that we need to doctor up whenever we do that. But one thing I'm going to add in that battle is that German vehicle. What do we end up calling them? The Fahrzeug. So I think we're going to go back, and that's what we're going to work on next. Let me get rid of these tufts that are over here. Get some semblance of order in this land of chaos. And we'll go back and work on the Fahrzeug. And I got some things I want to show you guys anyways that are just happen to be over here. So we're going to turn this around. Turn the mic around. All right. And we're going to go to the build table. Okay, there's the build table over here with the stock of models. Take this over here. We're going to need this. Glue's over here. Take the cafe. Put the cafe there. I think we're good to go. All right. So the stuff I wanted to show is a couple of things that I pulled in from the garage. This is upcoming stuff here. This is just empty, just something to bring things to and from the garage. All right, we have another T35 hull. We have another T35. This one actually is, this one's complete. This one, I don't have any turrets for it. That's how I got it. I bought it from somebody who just had all kinds of this stuff at a show. Now, this one looks like it had the radio antenna, and I was having trouble like gluing it, and it got brittle and it broke off. So what I'm going to do is, in one of those actions that actually talks about one of these T35s that actually has these antennas on them, but the antennas actually were broke off, so it just has like the little plates around the bottom. So I'm going to put the plates around the bottom, and it's not going to have an antenna. Now, at some later point, we'll put all that together. And I don't know what I would use this for. I mean, technically, I could make if I was really into conversions, I could make an SU-14 out of it. The SU-14 was a self-propelled gun mount. I'm not sure what gun it carried. Something really big, like a 203 or something like that. I want to say it was a 203, but kind of an open top thing. But we're just going to leave this as is. I ended up getting this for free, so we've got those two. We've got an extra, and I do have the hatches for it. We have an extra KV-1 hull from that set of Pegasus that comes with extra turrets and an extra KV-2. Here's the extra little pegs there for the antenna on a T-35. I've got 1, 2, 3 more model 1940 T-34s from Skytrex. Yeah, we don't need that. Yeah, here's the rest of the antenna for the T-28. I was putting that together a little while ago. This beautiful thing. This is a pre-made Panzer III. Has a 1942 paint scheme, or maybe an early 43. Sand color sprayed on top of the Panzer Gray. These are crude models, but they work just fine. And then this is some of the stuff that I ended up getting from Don that basically was free, or he threw it in with the rest of the stuff. This is an HO scale M10, which I'm not going to say is not usable. I might make a wreck out of this. I could. A couple of half tracks. I'm not sure who the hell these are from. I don't know, Jeffrey's an expert on this kind of stuff. He's been around forever. I don't know who makes these half tracks. You've just been playing with this stuff another 15 years more than I have. Let's see how they scale with the pre-made ones from Corgi. I suspect they're probably the ones from Hasegawa. I'm not sure. The best life. Are you living your best life? They're pretty close in size. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I might make them for North Africa. I might North Africa them. But this is how I got them. And I got this M4A1. So they're pretty close in size with the Corgis. And I got this M4A1 that unfortunately has this hole that is literally frittered away. It's super. Well, it's actually. I don't know that it was a plastic hull. I'm not sure what it is. So I think what I'm going to do with it is I've got in my spare parts another. You're just drinking coffee on the porch. Well, you're not in Florida because you wouldn't be drinking coffee out there, like 96 fucking degrees. I guess you could be drinking iced coffee, which I drink iced coffee anyways. I never drink warm coffee. I'm not sure who makes this thing, but I'm going to have to remove the track for it. And I've got a spare set of track that I'll probably use from the bag of stuff. The dimensions on it look weird. It's almost like it's too far back or something. Smoking and watching Captain Kangaroo. What in the Mr. Green Jeans? I used to watch that when I was a kid. Remember Mr. Goodbody? Didn't think we were going to talk about him, did we? Whatever his name is. Ira Schwartz, or whatever his name really is. Guy that shows up promoting health. He's wearing a bodysuit with esophagus and kidney painted on him or whatever. That's some creepy shit. He's like, what's his name? Richard Simmons' brother or something like that. He's not, but he's like... The dimensions on this thing are all weird. I have an M4A1. I have a couple of M4A1s. Which one of these is probably the most accurate? Probably this one from this pre-built one. I feel like the dimensions on it are spot on. It's not too bad. It might be a 1/76th. I've never built this one, so I'm not really sure who this one's by. Unfortunately, it's got a really early mantlet. Like a really, really early mantlet. And it's hard to find Americans with a really, really early mantlet like that. And this paint is just fucking slopped on here. But we'll be able to turn this thing around and make a treasure out of it. I don't remember that song. I don't remember the Captain Kangaroo song. And then I got this little Stewart here. I take it this is probably the Hasegawa one. But I have a feeling that this is an American one. I mean, I'm sorry, a British one. Which is a shame because I'd totally make this for the Philippines. Totally. And it's in pretty poor shape. Almost like it's actually asking to be wrecked. But I pulled this stuff in because I'm probably going to work on this stuff sooner rather than later. I like doing Americans and Russians because people seem to dismiss them. So, playing Solitaire till dawn with a deck of 51. Not playing with a full deck. Alright. So with that said, we brought these guys in. I picked up another Messerschmitt this last week for $5. It's another E. It's another tropical E. This could totally be a wreck. Much better quality model than the other one. This one actually has panel lines instead of raised panels. So this one's modeled accurately. And then the P47 that I won in a raffle. We're not wrecking this. And this thing is just, it's freaking gorgeous. This model is incredible. This model is typical Tamiya. This just incredible. Look at one of the, let's see if I can, the wings, man. It's got rivets. It's got panel lines. It's absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. The inside of the bay for the, just absolutely beautiful. Cockpit, nice big wide cockpit. Just beautiful. Beautiful model. And I love Tamiya stuff, but I don't do 1/35th scale anymore, and 1/72 is only aircraft. They don't do 1/72 scale tanks. And I'm a purist. I'm going to do only 1/72 scale stuff. Or things I can use with my 1/72 scale collection. So we left off on this. So yeah, this is, I'm going to stick in that scenario with the T-35s. I mean, if I do the scenario for the T-35s. Like I said, I do this for the intention of gaming. Whether I actually game or not is a different matter. I'm going to shove this tank in that scenario. Because it was supposedly in the area, 3 of them. All right, let's get our sprues that we have working on out. And this is a beautiful model as well. I don't care, I build crappy models too. Sometimes the crappy models are more impressive. Especially if people are dismissive, like, model's no good. You shouldn't be building that. All right, we got to find out where we left off at. Your mind's too dirty for what you say. All right, where's Mr. X-Acto knife? Did we bring one over here? I only have tens of them, which was unintentional, but this model has one of the smallest parts I've ever seen on anything, and it's just like a little headlamp here. And the only reason I'm not painting is because I can feel already like falling asleep again. So I need to stay up. Okay. We did the fenders, and we said we weren't going to glue the fenders on because we want to make it easy to put the track on and off. So we'll glue those at a later date. We got the exhaust already done there. Okay. The turret, the business end of this thing's next. All right. So let's do this, the gun part here. This thing is equipped with a 75 millimeter L24 and a 37 millimeter, I believe it's an L46. It's the same as the Pack 36. Side by side. Well, it begins. That's because I can't do this over this. I mean, I could, but I'm going to fuck up my neck. Having bad posture the whole time. Okay. Those two pieces there. We've got a B19. It's right here. There's not a whole lot left on this thing. Well, next time we airbrush, maybe we'll airbrush this thing along with it. A14. Well, here's B14. A14's got to be on the A sprue. Okay. Looks like one of the tracks on one of my your NFBZs has perished or been damaged. Not sure if it's repairable. Can you put it, is it a small enough section you could put it on a stand and then hide that? That's a word we don't use in America. Perished. And it's not that we can't use it. It's just you're never going to see somebody hear that. You're never going to hear somebody say, oh, they perished. We just said they died. I don't know. Maybe they say it in Kentucky, but I don't think so. Just like something I hear all the time I used to never hear, and it's totally a British thing. If somebody's listing things and said, well, so how did it go? Well, firstly, nobody in the United States says firstly first. They never do. And there's nothing wrong with it. I actually like how it sounds. It's just nobody here is going to use that. Well, one thing's for sure, this thing has no flash. other than, the connection points for the sprue. This is beautiful. This side by side guns, they're absolutely beautiful. It's a yellow rubberized track, about an inch is damaged. I will base it anyway to match the already built one. Yeah, I think. I mean, this stuff. This is a beautiful. I mean, this is a beautiful material. I don't know that I like it any better than anything else, but I mean, it's. I don't know how stretchy it is. We're not going to screw with that, but it looks to be high quality. Now, I wouldn't have paid whatever this thing is for full price. These things are expensive, or at least they're expensive now. Maybe it depends on where you bought them. I mean, the two 222s that I got from Dragon, they came in a 2-pack, so you got two of them. And I think I paid less than $20 for both of them together. All right, so unfortunately, I think tomorrow morning is going to be a repeat of this morning. Because I suspect I'm going to be up way past my bedtime. For a good cause. There we go. Let's even that out. Now let's see if this fits in here like it's supposed to. Perfectly. Okay. And we've got this. They have this obsession with making sure the guns move up and down. And you go to bed when the sun comes up lately, so you're backwards. You retired? Yeah. In that case, good morning. Good morning to you, sir. Hey, whatever works for you. I think most people are like you. Maybe not to that extreme, but most people are night owls. People don't generally want to wake up early unless they're, old or something. I just do it because I just guarantee to have some fun time for myself. You ordered some cheapo Chinese brushes off of Amazon, okay? You know the ones. And they came with those girthy handles. It's for those tiny little Asian hands. I've only seen Chinese brushes like that. Must be compensated. Oh, man. girthy handles. I had a set here of ones that almost came with like a cushiony handle, and they're not comfortable. They're not comfortable at all. No, not retired. Well, whatever works for you. I can't wait to be retired. I can't wait. So you're gonna send the brushes back? There's got to be an equivalent to these. These are like the best ones I've encountered. I've had really happy with this Langnickel, these Langnickel ones, whatever. Where the hell are my tweezers? Oh, here. Damn tunnel vision. I believe if I fit this, and this thing was just spot on. Yep. Sounds like a now overweight 80s adult star. Girthy handles. I can't say that I've seen any adult movies from the 1980s. Just outside of town, there's this adult bar. It's been there forever. They don't serve liquor. They don't serve alcohol. Period. But they have a full menu, so you can have like a hamburger there if you want. You know? And I would imagine that those places really have taken a hit from adult stuff being. This is a cool looking vehicle. Adult stuff being available on the internet for free, basically. Like you guys didn't know that. This is a nice color. I mean, this color makes it easy to tell the detail and stuff like that. Of course, it's going to be primered in black. A5 is the machine gun, and they actually give you a spare one. Oddly enough. Me and my old lady are frugal, and I make a little selling things I make. Well, that's okay. I mean, I think everybody has to be. I've talked about this before. Try to be frugal where you can, because something's going to happen, and you're going to have to spend the money for it. And if you spend the money on everything all the time, you're not going to have any when you really need it. To give you an example, I'm going to soda. That calls for doing a line of Coke. There any in here? Nope. We go out to the garage. Hopefully I don't encounter that skate. to enjoy this with my better half. Maybe they changed the bottles again. Always gotta fuck with things. So I took my car in last weekend for an oil change, and my AC was spotty. It'd work in the morning and it wouldn't. And I took it on Saturday, and they said, well, looks like it's covered under warranty, and we need to do this, that, and the other. But we also find an inspection that we need to change your clutch thrust bearing or something like that was out, which is covered. Car's 4 years old or something like that. And we're not going to be able to complete that today. All right, so they held on to it until Monday. Take a look at it Monday, and they sent me this picture, this video. Said, man, your clutch is really hard. I said, man, yeah, the clutch has been hard from... Really, you motherfucker? You flying motherfucker. You interrupted my story, you asshole. There you are. It'll be ready on Monday, and they sent me this video saying they took apart the clutch, and it said almost everything was worn out on it. I'm like, it only has 48,000 miles. My first clutch on my first car that I learned how to drive a stick shift on lasted 105,000 miles. This is at 48,000. It's like, if we replace it now, it's $1,760, or it'll cost you more later. Well, this is not the time to spend $1,760. So I'm like, we'll just do it. We'll just do it later. Like, it's not even acting weird. It's like, well, I'll adjust it. It's going to feel like a new clutch. So that's probably what it was. I got the car, and the clutch on it was way too tight, and that's probably how it got worn out. But I didn't know. I mean, it's an all-wheel drive car. I've never driven a stick in an all-wheel drive car. The thing has more torque than a Abrams tank. I just assumed that's how it was. And I had read on the news groups for of the car that, yeah, everybody's has a really tight... I don't know if they come from the factory, over-tightened, and that's how it got worn. Like, I'm not spending the money. So I wanted to go pick it up. I'm not ready to do that right now. I go to pick it up, and it says, well, we decided we're going to give you an estimate on how much it's going to cost later on. And now that they closed it up, I decided not to do it. And it was like $3,500. I'm like, I'm not fucking doing it. I'm not doing that. You got to be frugal. You can't just spend that kind of money. And sure, I mean, the car it drives a lot better than it was before, even though the clutch is worn. But, I mean, I can't tell that it's worn. I'm probably going to do it on the next oil change or the one after that or something like that. But I think it just came too tight from the factory. But anyways, you can't just spend money on everything because like our AC went out. I'm like, okay, we got to have that. That was $300. But at least it came out the same day. You know, you got to try to save money on things you can save money on. You know, because there's some things you're not going to be able to save money on. So, you can't just buy shit all the time. All right, you bastard. That's the problem with these little pieces is they're so small you can't get a good purchase on them. Yeah, I can't sell little things I make because then I don't have them. And, you know, I spend too much time. It wouldn't be cost efficient. A21 goes right here. Okay. So, like, you know, I want to go to the model show. Why? Is I want to buy stuff for like $2-3. You know, I'm not going to go there and buy, you know, a regular price model. Like, that doesn't say, hey, buy me. A21 is this bastard right here. So there's nothing wrong with being frugal. You know, I'm worth it to buy $20 brushes, but I don't. Because there's peace of mind in buying cheap things, because if something happens to it, it's not painful. I don't wear designer sunglasses. You know, you get a scratch on them and, you know, your life ends. So this is like a channel for the antenna to go on. Okay. And B13 is like the end. The antenna actually comes on here. I'm going to try to install the one that comes on here. B13, B13, B10. No. 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 The hell is the B sprue over here? Oh my god, that piece is tiny. Well, I know for a fact I read that I don't need the hatchet or the axe. Okay, that's going to end up being in the German spare parts. And this B13 is the last piece that comes off here. And the next to the last piece that goes on here. And the last piece that comes off here is the antenna. And now we can get rid of the sprue. And of course the garbage is all the way on that side. You make a few bucks an hour if I factor in my time, but I sell them, I get money for more materials, maybe a few bucks for bills. Well, and hopefully it, you know, it provides some therapy. You know, and I mean that, I don't mean that like there's something fucking wrong with you, but, you know, stress relief. This is stress relieving, even when I lose a piece, you know. It's therapy. It's really healthy therapy. It's better than drinking. Everybody needs therapy. And the problem with this isn't seeing it. I could see it. It's holding it in a way. That I could trim that. All right, now which way is it going to go? So I like to test fit everything. Sometimes you drink while you do it. Yeah, well, You know, as long as the point isn't to get trashed. You know, I'm probably going to have a drink tonight. Sip on some whiskey. Probably won't have a buzz from it. That's okay. I need to have a buzz at work is where I need to have the buzz. Not here. I got no problems here. By the way, the capacitor is what went wrong on the AC. It had blown up or whatever. Guy says, yeah, sometimes they last... sometimes they last a month. Sometimes they last a month. That's sometimes they last years. And these will last longer than a fucking month. There's nothing wrong with drinking. I like to talk about it more than actually drink. I never drink. Fuck me. And hopefully this lines up with that. And I never associated gaming with drinking. Probably because I started gaming when I was a wee lad. And also, man, we got to think when we play these games. Well, how'd that saying go? Patience of a saint, touch of an angel. So, anyways, people were over one of my daughter's roommates from college and her fiance. They're pretty cool. And she likes to play games. And I said, and I guess they had dabbled with doing some YouTube stuff. And I'm like, listen, if you're a girl and you want to make some dough, go make how-to play videos. People are going to watch them, man. There's lots of videos I've seen with females doing stuff, and they're not even doing anything inappropriate. I'm not saying you have to do anything inappropriate, but you'll get lots of views. If you're like on a 1 to 4 scale, a 1 to 10 scale, if you're like a 4, people will watch your stuff. It might be for the wrong reasons, but that's on them. I do my DBA gaming videos. If people want to look at Mitch's feet and get excited, that's on them. That's also on Mitch. I don't really drink much. I'm not very good at it these days. I just get tired. Yeah, that's why I never drink. I mean, really, that's why I never drink. I mean, I always puts me in a better mood. I usually get if I drink too late or there's just too many conditions. Like I end up getting what I call a dehydration headache. Have this annoying headache for all day long, especially if it's like having a beer too late. Just one, and it'll like literally ruin my next day. And I've been that way for a while, so I just never drink. I guess I could have made that raised, but it's something that goes 90 degrees. That's not going to bode well. We'll just let this sit in the rack there like that. What a cool vehicle. And honestly didn't know. I didn't know anything about these things until I started building them. Other than like, yeah, they went to Norway. I didn't realize why they went to Norway. They needed all the battle tanks to go into France. All right, we got A23 and A24, or the parts of the turret. I could make the hatch open, but I don't think I'm going to. I don't think I'm going to on this one. Coming, talking about drinking. What I really like to do with drinking is like go and order one beer, and like I'm out to dinner or whatever with the wife and the daughter, and we all share it. Seriously, that's what I like doing. Then, nobody feels like crap. You know, all that kind of stuff. That's my preference. It's just an appetizer. You know, it's just an appetizer. But I've never drank much. So I got two Tamiya models. This one and a Henschel 129 that has technically been started by someone, but all they did is they painted the nose cones like red. In the past, you had jobs where drinking was dang near part of it if you wanted to fit in. I never fit in. Yeah. I don't like to not drink, but I could certainly do without it the rest of my life. Now, if I wanted this open, I guess it'd be like that. I don't. I have it closed. This commander's too freaking busy. He's got a lot on his plate. I got a job that they used to have a holiday party, and thankfully they don't do it anymore, but I think everybody just kind of did it. Calling that a party would be kind of like a joke, but there was no alcohol served, and they actually didn't want you to bring a drink in either. It was at a restaurant. They didn't encourage you, because the problem is you're dealing with a lot of people that construction type. Oh, that's why there's a little notch there, so it fits in without one. Well, there you go. You got a lot of people that can't behave, drinking. But so that was a big joke. There was a holiday party, but it's not really a party. Okay. This is all complete. So now we do a couple of these Panzer I turrets. And that's it. So this consists of A9, where here's one of them. Here's the other one. Garbage. And this thing was $10. One of the most expensive models that I bought. This was $10, and the ME110 was also $10. I don't know if I'm going to crash the ME110. Guy at one of your old job's work parties got drunk and decided to tell the managing director he sucks farts through a hose. He kept his job somehow. Because the managing director asked him to blow him. So it was like a tit for tat. I don't know. I've never gotten that drunk before, I guess. Sucks farts through a hose, huh? I've heard rumors that some of the people brought their own drink to one of our parties, one of our gatherings, ended up hitting on the boss's wife, unsuccessfully. So I've heard. I wouldn't put that past happening. Here. I hear engine noises. That was your conclusion also? Well, it makes sense, You You suck farts through a hose. Well, speaking of sucking things. Harumph. Now, this is like a Panzer I-ish turret. It's a little smaller, I think. But it only has a single MG, not a double. You suck farts through a hose. Funny you should mention sucking. The one thing that I never understood is mooning people. I'm going to embarrass you, so I'm going to take my pants off and you're going to look at my ass, and somehow you're going to be the one that's supposed to be embarrassed. Obviously, that kind of logic came up with somebody that was drinking. Oh, this is a weird fit. Oh, I see how. There we go. Why does it even have this piece in the back? Oh, that's ridiculous. There's no way. I'm not going to install that piece. It's not needed. Or in a papal horde. That's a cool army, man. That's that army and the Irish. Those two guys are just a hoot. I played that papal army in a tournament against Don, and the craziest shit happened. He fought his way out of so many things. Like, why do they even have you build this? It's like hidden from the front, and you don't need it from an attachment standpoint. I think these guys are overcompensating on this too. And it doesn't really... If these tweezers weren't so damn expensive, I'd make my own set of rubberized ones. Maybe they don't want it sitting that far in. Well, the reality is this doesn't fit. So let's take a little bit off here. And flip it and do the same thing on the other side. Okay, now that'll glue in. You're just sorting out future armies, and those Forge in Battle Rus are excellent sculpts. Also have some Slavs, might make a long, narrow camp that is some warriors emerging from a wood line. Yeah, the Forged in Battle figures are superb. I don't remember what the Rus look like, but even the old Glory Rus are pretty good looking. They've got those freaking doors for shields, like huge. The DBF, I don't know if you've messed with it much, but have you tried to create like other armies from DBA in them, and you find out that their point values aren't very similar? Like maybe, you would think that DBA would have similar point values of stuff, but find out that somebody's just like a much bigger, better kick, good bang for the buck than something else. Another one of my favorite things, sorting figures. Let's do the same thing with this. And this is one of the shortfalls of somebody like those Eschi kits, is you've got all this over-engineered stuff, but then you don't have like little markers in places where they go, or they just don't fit well together. And yep, I saw it. Medieval Thomas or someone at Fanatics did do a few, and the points value weren't miles apart, but there was a difference. Medieval Thomas only does 100 Years War stuff. Only. So, Hunter's War of Fantasy. He was one of the authors of DBF. Yep. Yeah, I played with him against him a couple times. He's actually the only one of the authors that I've played against. Well, I've played a lot of games with what's his name, but they've been. I played more games with him, but it's not DBA. It's Field of Glory. Paul. Played a lot of games with Paul. But of that computer game, Field of Glory. There's some things that computer game Field of Glory does a lot better than DBA, and there's a lot of things that is not the case. I don't like the fact that you don't have a general. Like, well, that's disappointing. As for starters, you can't use any personality figures. Or if you do, it doesn't make a difference. Yeah, him and his son do a lot of Game of Thrones stuff. Okay. Supposedly you can use this with the same glue. I don't believe it. This feels totally like rubber. So after that paint scheme. Painting, painting, painting. If this was a traditional thing, I'd just put a staple in it. But I don't think I'm going to have enough place to put a staple. Let me go grab my stapler. Be nice to get this thing done so. Be complete. This one's heavy freaking duty. Let's see if we can get on with this thing. Let's see if I don't fuck this thing up. Could just use wire to connect it, but this is a pretty precise little thing. According to this, there's a DS logo on here, and the DS logo says, Dragon's always at the forefront of utilizing new technology and material in the development of its various product lines. Such innovation is geared to reduce the modeler's construction time and effort, but at the same time brings high detail end product. Dragon is proud to introduce Dragon Styrene 100, a crossbreed that has the advantage of both polystyrene and PVC vinyl developed and formulated by the Dragon R&D team. It allows filing, cutting, sanding, and polishing. Easy to get rid of parts by the model thinner. Can be glued using normal liquid cement. Okay, I'm going to try this. I would be freaking surprised if this works. And I'd probably still secure it with a staple. Alright, so I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to get it in place, and I'm going to put the tweezers on it so it's pressing it down so it doesn't shift on me. I don't see how this would work with this glue. I don't see how this is going to work. Let's not fuck up my bottom gray layer one. It's kind of working. That's weird, man. Okay. Well, it's not... This stuff doesn't stick to your hands. That's a big plus to it. Holy fuck. It does. Holy shishkov. Okay. Let's make sure we put the treads in the right way. They're down like this, which means it needs to be like this. You want to put this towards the bottom. Which means I should be able to stick it in place. Just make sure it's running on the channel. Make sure it's running on the channel. Okay, it's kind of holding. Kind of. All right, I'm going to try to relieve some of the pressure on this thing. Let's get a jack. Let's jack this thing up. Wow, I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit here. Now, I don't know if this liquid cement will make this weld to itself. I don't know if it'll weld this other plastic to it. It might not work with the similar plastics. But that'll at least take some of the pressure off of it. Wow. Unbelievable. Uh-oh, what the fuck happened here? Jesus H. Christ. I think it's sticking to it to some degree. Wow, I'm really impressed. I'm annoyed that some of these model companies give you paint, what paint to use, and either quote Gunsanyo, or I guess that's how you say it. It's not Gunsa Sanyo, or Mr. Hobby. Mr. Hobby! Neither of which are available in any amount here in the United States. Gunsanyo Aqueous. That's what they call aqueous. Mr. Hobby. Now we're going to grab a little piece of cardboard. This one should do nicely. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one, and we're going to leave this thing drying. What a beautiful model. Happy Man. You just found out the two of your favorite war movies are on BBC Two. Both have Clint Eastwood with them. Well, that would be Where Eagles Dare, which I have not seen in a very long time. And, the other one. Hey, I still want to see The Duelist. Maybe I can watch that one on Monday with a daughter. I stopped watching it because once I found out that Harvey didn't have his trademark accent, I'm like, all right, I can watch this. I think there's a lot of fighting in it. That's what, like, okay, I gotta stop watching this. I gotta watch this with a daughter. Yes, you are correct, sir. Haha. That's two of your favorite war movies. I don't know how I think about Clint Eastwood. I don't mean that I dislike him. He's he's a little one dimensional. Um, does he really belong in Where Eagles Dare? I mean, I don't know. I still haven't showed my daughter Wild Geese, which I actually own Wild Geese. Speaking of Mr. Burton, speaking of drinking problems, Harrison Burton. Oh man, who else would you have to add to that? Let's see. If you added, oh, they're all the same time period. Who's the Peter O'Toole? Peter O'Toole, Richard Harris, Richard Burton, and what's his name? And the Oliver guy. It wouldn't be any liquor left. The Cirrhosis Bunch. Oliver, what's his name? I've seen him definitely the least of any of them. Actually, I think the only thing I've ever seen him in is Gladiator that killed him. Oh man, whatever his name is, caressed. You've been caressed. Oh man, how much? Let's see how much space you got on here. You incorrigible MG. This is one of the finest quality models I've ever built, though. Oh, we can glue this now. We can glue this now. Oh, and this connects to this. Interesting. Okay. Oliver Reed. That's what his name is. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and remove this turret ever so carefully. Anyways, I don't think I finished my sentence. These people that are over here, the girl likes to play games. I said, man, you should do some YouTube video. I mean, you could get a lot of viewers. You wouldn't even have to do anything inappropriate. You could just be average and get a lot of views. Because gluing this after after it's painted, that's a pain in the ass. That's really a pain in the ass. I still would have preferred separate link track. But the Fartzeug cometh. Now I'm going to be out of the house probably for most of the day tomorrow. Supposed to go kayaking. And we're going to put everything back on so that it's all together. Oh, we got some extra pieces there. What the hell do those go to? Oh, was it at the front and I just decided not to put them on there so they wouldn't get damaged? Correct. All right. They have them at the back too, and there's one missing. Did it fall off the... I got an extra machine gun. But pieces not used. No, these guys do a pieces not used thing. Okay, 417 and 18 go. Okay. They go there, right? And I did the right thing not gluing them in yet. They're not, that way they're not in the way of this. One of the sculpts in a Forged in Battle Viking pack is a Viking choking a chicken. Literally. Wow. Is he circumcised? Oh, hold on. Wrong chicken. Those figures are incredible. They're absolutely incredible. And I probably would have bought more if I was still doing that stuff. But they showed up too late. I still want to do If I go back, if I go back, yeah, if I go back, there's no guarantee I'll go back. Would like to do those pre-feudal Scots. What's up? Ah! Welcome. I like it. Is that a Panzer tank? Is that a tank? It is a German tank, yes. That they made very few of, and it is a glorious piece of shit. Okay, it looks like the little handle part goes towards the outside, alright? And this needs to dangle. So this piece needs to go like this. What precision. It's a really well engineered vehicle. The model, anyways. And even though I only have one of them, I'll go ahead and put the other one on the bottom, on the back side. How many model kits do I have? I have about 200 complete, and probably another 70 to complete, something like that. I have a lot. But it's not like they're in 1/35th scale. It would take a really long time. I'd have to move out of my own house if they were in 1/35th scale. Okay, this is the one that's on the left. It may be more than 70. But I've got more complete than not. Which is better than most model builders. Now, miniatures? Absolutely not. I got a lot more to paint than I do. But and now we've got these little lateral pieces. $19 is the one that goes on this side. Okay? So that would be this one. So this one goes over here. And this one goes on this side. Yeah, one of the guys that was selling these models, he was selling them for somebody who was deceased. And the deceased person had over 3,000 models not built. I mean, at some point, when you buy the 2000th one, you got to realize you're never going to fucking build them, okay? Okay, so this goes in like this. Oh, that fits nicely. And then this goes on the opposite side. And I got one piece that's still sitting here connected. It's like a 20 or something like that. Yeah, it's A20. Where the hell is A20? I never came across it. I wouldn't be surprised if the instructions are wrong. They showed a piece to put on here that didn't exist. Actually, I'm glad I didn't connect those pieces. They're a little delicate. And we didn't want to break them by ham fisting. Yeah, I don't know where the hell they expect A20 to go, but I mean, these are beautiful instructions. They remind me of the S model instructions a little bit. So, okay, this bastard's done. And normally with the models, I don't get super excited like I used to because we have the internet and be able to see all these vehicles from all these angles, right? But a vehicle like this, like I haven't really looked much at. It's a fairly attractive vehicle. I mean, it looks better in person than it makes it look like it would be. Okay, time to go to the garage and grab another one. Be right back. I'm gonna use a little boys' room around the way. this is a twofer here. Put this guy somewhere safe. Should have cleared up some space here by having all these T35s that were here that are no longer there anymore. All right, so I got both of these things. I want to say I got these from Don. And the things that he had, they're kind of hacked up. One of them's a Hasegawa, one of them is a Fujimi, which means this is 172nd and this is 176th. At least it should be. And this is a Schwimmwagen and Kettenkrad together. And this is instructions of a Mark III M. Parts of a 3. I don't know where the hell the rest of the 3. Oh, unless that's the 3M that's gray. I have one that's due to go to the Snowlandia. Unless that's this one. And that might be what it is. It's kind of hard. If it was an M, it would have this rear exhaust stuff. That would make sense. This thing's probably going to end up getting wrecked in a snow drift or something. It's not very good. But we got some Panzer III M parts. No instructions. Not that I can't just pull them off of something else. It's like a motorcycle here, off of Scalemates. And here's parts of a Schwimmwagen that they started painting. I am not a proponent of painting before building. Okay, so and I want to say I have a motorcycle on my own, but okay, so let's see what we can make out of this. Front window. Decals that probably don't work. Put this in a German decal package. All right. Schwimmwagen. Associate that thing with Piper of all people. The figures actually don't look that bad. Okay, so we got the bottom of the hull. Ooh, don't like that sound. Ooh. And then the top. I hear some penis wrinkle mowing. Okay? The seats. Your number 3. And the gear shift, number 2. All right. Let's put all that stuff together. Or clean it up, really. If you're doing anything like this, make sure you're not wearing a shirt that's synthetic. That synthetic shirt will pick up all this stuff. Oh, we don't need this. That's what we got this area down. I've never driven a Volkswagen. I would imagine it's probably really unsatisfying to drive. I think driving a stick shift is fun. I don't know about an underpowered stick shift. All right, let's see how these little pieces go together. That fits together pretty well. And this little guy is going to go here. Yep, and the stick shift there between them. All right, let's go to town. Oh no, you don't. I'd pin you to the wall, but. Look, what is that? It's like, oh, it's the rear propeller thing. Well, that's kind of unique. Oh. I think the people have returned. Yeah, I'm glad you don't have these separate pieces for the Kettenkrad. It gets all together. Man, the figures actually look pretty decent. I should paint them then. You know, those are the figures that come with her? I said, yeah, they paint up okay. A lot of this stuff that people don't give the time of day. Just gotta give it some respect. Be right back. Okay. This thing goes together pretty well here. And then we've got, all right, so we got the propeller part, which I'm not really sure how often they use this as an amphibious vehicle. But the strange thing is they're far away from each other. 8 is over here, and then 9's all the way on the other end of the spectrum. You have a couple, the Hasegawa Kubel and BMW motorcycle on the workbench. Okay, you can tell me what I'm doing wrong. I'd rather it be a Kubel than I've got 2 Kubels. I got a Fujimi one that I believe came with the Stug, and I've got the one that's the Airfix one that came in the Recon set. And the Airfix one apparently has suffered some damage. I don't think it's usable. It got brittle, and like the front windscreen is messed up on it. And the Fujimi one is painted but not finished. But this is a vehicle, well, not the Schwimmwagen, but the Kubel's one I associate with being gray. I mean, obviously it was both, but a Schwimmwagen, I don't know when the hell the Schwimmwagens came out, but I just don't associate with them being gray. So this is definitely going to be Dunkelgelb of some form or another. Now, okay, this is going to go like this, right? And then this little propeller-driven thingy is going to go inside. Okay, and it can be raised or lowered. I have a feeling that it needs to be raised all the time. Let's check an actual reference. So we're gonna go Schwimmwagen rear. Okay, that's how it is. God, that looks very odd. What an odd vehicle. Okay, when it's flipped up, it looks like a fan. Okay, so obviously we're going to have it flipped up. I'll be right back. All right, folks. Well, we'll continue on in the morning. We got guests here, so you built a couple of sets of the Schwimmwagen Kettenkrad Pass here. I need 4 Kugel or Schwimms for my reconnaissance section for a Panzer Grenadier battalion. Okay, well, we'll be back in the morning, bright and early. Hopefully I will not be falling asleep, and we will continue building this little guy.